Hello kids, here English teacher once more, and in today's lesson we're going to learn about demonstratives, okay? What are demonstratives? Now, I want you to look at your hand, yes? And with our hands, we point at things that are close to us, yes? That the distance is close to us, and at the same time we point at things that the distance is far from us, right? Now, sometimes in everyday conversations, we say, look at that! That is my friend, right? Or sometimes we can say, look at this! This is my Lamborghini, right? So in this case, I am giving a demonstration of an object, a person, an animal, a place, etc., etc., etc. Now, let's have a look with the car. Yes, let's have an example with the car. Here I have a car, right? It's a toy car. It's not a real car, but it's an object, right? So if I want to demonstrate the car, and I want to know the distance, if it's a far distance or if it's a short distance. So I say, for example, if it is a short distance, look at my finger. I say, this is a car, right? Now, it is singular. It is singular, so it means that it's just one. So I say, this is a car, right? Now, if I want to talk about long distance, yes, let's imagine the car is not short distance, but the car is long distance, right? In this context or in this situation, we would say that is a car, right? Now, we have many different examples that we can use, but for now, we're going to focus only on long distance, right? Now, here I have an example. I say that is a car, right? Notice here, like the distance between the hand and the car, it's a long distance. They are separated. They are far away from each other. So I say that is a car, right? Something important is the word is, because it's singular, right? And when it is singular, the verb to be we use is, right? Now, this is a positive sentence. This is a sentence that we say it's in a positive way because, well, you are pointing at a car. So I say, yes, that is a car. That is positive, right? Now, look at this. We have the second example. We have, again, the hand, and we have the motorcycle, right? But the motorcycle obviously is not a car, right? So this example is negative, right? Now, for example, I say, I'm not wearing my glasses, yes? And I say, that's a car. And I say, no, wait, I need my glasses because that is not a car. That is not a car, right? So in this case, we have similar example, but it's a negative sentence. So I say, that is not a car. That is not a car. That is a motorcycle, right? And finally, we have an interrogative question. Yes? Well, actually, interrogative, well, it's a question. Right? Now, what happens here? We say, notice that the verb to be is, yes, when it's positive and when it's negative, goes right in the middle of the sentence. But in this context, when you are asking a question, because this is a question, the verb to be, in this case, is, goes at the beginning of the sentence. So I say, is that a car? So I say, is that a car? Well, obviously it is not a car. So I say, now teacher, that's not a car, that's an airplane, right? Now, these are the first three examples about the long distance examples, right? What happens then when we have plural nouns? Because this is singular, one car, one motorcycle, and one airplane. And when it's singular, remember that we use a, right? Now, what happens if it is plural? If there are more objects? So, give me a second, I'll give you an example now. Now, here we are with the second example. But I want you to pay attention here because this is a little bit different. So I say that is a car, right? But in this case, we have two cars, right? Now, the verb to be is can't be used in this sentence because it's plural, right? So when it is plural, we're going to erase that and we're going to erase this other word. And I say those are two cars, right? Because in this situation we're talking about two or three or four or more because it's plural. So I say those, not that. Those are, yes, those are two cars, right? Now here we have the same example but in negative. So I say those are not two cars, right? So I say those are not two cars, right? Because it's negative. And here, you guessed it, we use here are, here we use two, here we use cars, and we say those, right? So I say, are those two cars? And I say, no, teacher, those are not two cars. Those are two airplanes. Those are two motorcycles. Those are two cars, right? Now, we have singular, yes, singular, and we have plural, long distance. This is long distance. Now, what about short distance, yes? Now, another example. And here we are again with the other examples about short distance. Now, pay attention because here this example is a little different. Remember that in the previous example we say long distance, we say that is a car, that is not a car, or is that a car, because we're talking about long distance. And if it is plural, we say those are two cars, those are not two cars, or are those two cars? Now here is kind of similar, but we have short distance. When you talk about short distance, remember the car? I say this is short distance, this is long distance. Short distance, long distance, right? So for example, I say this is a notebook, right? We say this is, because it's singular, it is just one. Then we have a, that indicates that it is singular, and we say notebook. Yes, so I say this is a notebook. Now I say, for example, here in the negative sentence, I say this is not a notebook. For example, this is not a notebook. This is a car, right? This is not a notebook. This is a pencil. And finally, the interrogative sentence, we have, is this a notebook? Good. Now, this is singular. What happens when we talk about short distance but plural, right? So let's talk about plural nouns with another example. Now for the final examples, here we have the plural form of the short distance. If I say the plural, right, remember that plural, it's 2 or 3 or 4 or more objects, people, places, animals, right? It's not necessarily only objects, but you can also talk about a person, you can also talk about a place, you can also talk about an object, you can talk about an animal, etc., right? Now here we have the plural form of the short distance. So I say these. Previous example, this. This example is these. These are 2 notebooks. The spelling here is very important because we have THESE, right? And then we have the rest of the example. Here we use the verb to be are because it's plural, right? We use 2 because we have 2 of them. And we have notebooks with an S because it's plural, right? Now I say, in this case, these are not 2 notebooks. Yes? For example, I have 2 markers here. So I say, these are 2 markers. But if I have, I don't know, probably 2 pencils, I say, these are not 2 pencils, these are 2 markers. And finally, we have the third example, which is, are these 2 notebooks? So I say, are these 2 notebooks? So you say, yes, teacher, these are 2 notebooks. Now, something important is the distance, because depending on the distance where you are, the examples change. Because I say, for example, that is a pencil, or those are 2 pencils. Yes, look at my distance. Those are 2 pencils. But if I am here, well, obviously I say, these are 2 pencils. Now, pay attention. Have to be careful with the distance, right? And that's all for today. Remember, if you have questions, you can text me, you can ask me, you can call me, teacher, I have a problem, I don't understand. Now, you can always contact me if you have problems with this, right? That was all for today. Hope to see you soon and have a wonderful rest of week. Now, here are some other examples. So I say, that is a motorcycle. And when we are short distance, I say, this is a motorcycle, right? Singular. Now here we have a plural example, but in this case we have 2 markers. So I say, those are 2 markers. And obviously, because now my distance is different, it's a short distance, I say, these are 2 markers. These are 2 markers. Now it is your turn, kids. What you have to do is do examples in your house. Like, for example, those are 3 cushions. These are 3 cushions because it is short distance. These are 1, 2, 3 cushions. And those are 3 cushions. Yes, because it is long distance. Okay? Goodbye, kids. Have a wonderful day.